computer, I don't want like names showing. So that's why I had to wait to record. So some students have been asking if there are alternatives and what they can do to pass for the semester. And what I need you to hear, and you know, if you're doing great, you're getting your passing grade, then that's awesome. Then you have a chance to excel. But if you've been failing and you're confused or you're, you know, overstressed, and you're feeling really anxious about everything, what I need to tell you is I need you to finish strong. Like somebody that's behind in a running race, okay, and they put in that last energy to win the race. That's what I need from you. If you've been failing and you're behind, then what you can do is starting right now. We've had one assignment before right now, and now this starts the new trimester. So I need you to stay with us, ask questions, come see me during office hours, text me, email me, tell me, hey, I need extra help, and I will make it happen. Okay, so with that being said, we're going to go over parallelograms, special parallelograms today. And if you were not here yesterday, which is 6 of you were here yesterday, that was awesome. I think that was like the most I had in any of my classes. Then obviously you don't have to watch the video. And what the assignment is to watch the video and then upload a picture of the notes. So if you were here yesterday, the 6 of you, then just upload a picture of your notes and you're done, you get credit. Okay. So with that being said, I am still taking work probably through tomorrow about this time. If you send it to me after that, or you put it in Canvas after that, there's no guarantee that it's going to be reflected. The district actually did give me, all the teachers, an extension for the grades. So that's because of some technology problems. And I decided to pass that on to my students, those that would take advantage of it. Now, obviously, I mean, if you were behind the whole semester, that extra few days probably wouldn't have helped you. But if you're only like 3 or 4 assignments behind or taking the quiz, then it should help you. Okay. So with that being said, let me go ahead and grab my notebook somewhere. I had to reshift everything last night and it didn't get shifted back. Okay, so this is part of the notes from yesterday. So let's talk about today. So parallelograms, this is 11.3. Let me make it bigger. Special parallelograms. Now, if you remember from 2 weeks ago, we were talking about parallelograms. It has 5 characteristics. So properties of all parallelograms. And we're just going to go over them briefly. 2 sets of parallel sides. 2 sets of equal or congruent sides. 3 opposite angles are congruent. 4 same side interior angles are supplementary, or they equal 180. And last, the diagonals bisect each other. Okay, so I'll give you a minute to finish copying that. This is like the qualities of a vehicle. You know that it has 4 wheels, you know it's going to have a steering wheel, you know it's going to have something that's going to make it run, whether it's a gas or electric engine or motor. And you know, most cars or vehicles have a windshield. So these are the properties of a moving vehicle, okay, the car. Now, special cars, some have, you know, some have 2-door, some have 4-door. Some have a sunroof, some don't. Some have like a convertible, they have no roof, or it's, you know, optional. So those are what we call special cars, because they have special properties. Well, we have the same thing with special parallelograms. Okay, so this is for all parallelograms, and we're going to be looking at 3 special parallelograms today. Okay. So special, actually they're called quadrilaterals. Special quadrilaterals. Let's look at a rectangle. So in addition to all of this, in addition to the above, 1, the diagonals are equal. 2 has 4 right angles. Okay, so that's a rectangle. Rhombus. In addition to the above, one, the diagonals not only bisect each other from up above, but the diagonals are perpendicular. Remember what it means to be perpendicular. Okay, the diagonals are going to make a 90-degree angle. Okay, and 2, the diagonals, and this is important, bisect the angles of a rhombus. And 3, all sides are equal or congruent. And last, a square. So in addition to the above 5 that we said, okay, these things are true. 1, it has 4 right angles. 2, the diagonals are equal. 3, the diagonals are perpendicular, which also means makes a right angle. 4, the diagonals bisect the angles of a square. And last, just in time, so I'm at the end of my paper, all 4 sides are equal or congruent. So let me give you a minute to finish that. Finish writing that.
Can you zoom out so I can see the whole page?
You want it bigger?
Yeah, just for a couple seconds, please.
Like that?
So I can see the whole page.
Oh, so you can see the whole page. Okay,
Yeah.
let me zoom out in just a second, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Copying this, and then I will. Besides anyone needing the whole page, is anybody still writing? Okay. Okay, there's the whole page. Well, kind of. Maybe a bit more. There we go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So let's put a picture with this while we're here on this page. Okay. So a rectangle. So if you'll remember our parallelogram, let's do this. Parallelogram. Okay. This is parallel to this. These are parallel. These are equal. These are equal. Okay. But now, and our opposite angles were congruent, among the other things. Okay. But when we add all that to the rectangle, what that looks like, okay, so everything about this up here is still true. So this is parallel to this. This is parallel to that. This one's equal. These are equal. But it has 4 right angles. And the diagonals are equal. Those are now going to be equal. Okay. So that just kind of gives you a little better understanding. So before, our diagonals were not necessarily equal, but this equaled this part equals this part. Well, now we know that this one equals this one and this one equals this one. They're all going to be equal. And if you notice, if I cover up, okay, my insurance card, that's fine. If I cover up one of those and make a triangle out of it, it becomes an isosceles triangle. Because it actually makes two sets of isosceles triangles. This is an isosceles triangle, they're equal. This is an isosceles triangle, and it's equal. Okay, so two sets of isosceles triangles in there. Okay, let's look at a rhombus. So in addition to all of that up there, I'm just going to add the differences. So we know that now all four sides are equal. And the diagonals bisect the angles. Not only do they bisect each other and make a right angle, but this angle is going to be equal to that angle, which means this angle is equal to that angle. And then this angle will be equal to this one, and these will also be equal. So now we have four right triangles, four congruent right triangles. Because this would be HL, because these are equal to each other. Okay, these are equal, they're shared side. So we have four right triangles by HL, by side, 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 by side, angle, side, by angle, side, angle. It's all there. Now here's the interesting part. A square is when we take, I'm going to put it over here, a rectangle, and you add a rhombus. So it's the math joke. What do you get when you cross a rectangle and a rhombus? You get a square. So now when we take these, and I know there's a lot of pictures, but it'll make more sense, I hope, when I draw this next picture. So a square. I'm going to make it kind of big so we can see exactly what it is. So a rectangle and a square means it's going to have four equal sides. When most people think of a square, they think of four right angles and four equal sides. And that's like the biggest thing. So four right angles. So if somebody says, I have four right angles, what's the figure? You're going to go, well, what about the angles? Are the angles right angles? Do we know? If we don't, it's a rhombus. If we do know that they're all right angles, then it's a square. Okay. And then when we draw the diagonals, notice that these now bisect the angles. So these are all now 45-degree angles, so that they were bisected. When this page right here is going to help you do the top yellow box on page 187, where you're going to check the properties of each of the quadrilaterals or parallelograms. Okay. So these are now right angles, all of them. And these are all equal. So that's what you get when you cross a rectangle and a rhombus. Now, granted, the sides are still parallel and they're still equal. Notice that our opposite angles are still congruent and our consecutive angles are still supplementary. Okay. Does anybody, I'm going to leave that up there for just a second so you guys can copy it. Okay, anybody still writing? Okay. So let's look at assignment where it has page 187. If you can pull that up on your Canvas, please. Okay, so page 187 looks like this. I'm going to talk about some of the properties. If you are not able to print it out, that's fine, but I do need you to draw completely the box, because some of your next quiz questions will come directly from this box. So you're going to really want to make sure that you have it filled out properly. Filled out properly. Okay. So we're doing really good on time. I think it would be a good thing if we go over it together. But I'm going to need some participation. Okay. So if I can get participation, then we'll do this together. And that's like half of the assignment right there. So if you're agreeable to that, go ahead and put yes in the chat. Okay, good. Okay, well, I've got most of you with a yes. Okay, so let's talk about it this way. Parallelogram. Are the opposite sides parallel? I'm gonna go my pencil. Yes or no? Okay. This isn't participation yet. Okay, I need you guys to tell me, are the opposite sides parallel in a parallelogram?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that's a check. Okay. Are the opposite sides congruent?
No.
Yes, they are. Okay, look at the 5 things at the top of your paper. Okay, that's what these represent. Are the opposite angles congruent?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Are the diagonals form congruent triangles? Okay, we didn't actually say that, but it is true. Because the diagonals bisect each other. Okay. That is true. Okay. The diagonals form two congruent triangles. We didn't actually talk about that, but it is true. Okay. So on the parallelogram, do the diagonals bisect each other? Look at your 5 things.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Okay. How about a rectangle? Are all those things true for a rectangle?
Yes.
Yes, because a rectangle is a special parallelogram. Therefore, all 5 of these are also true. Okay. Are all 5 of those true for a rhombus?
Yep.
Yes, they are. Okay, guys, I need more than just 2 or 3 people. There's like 12 of you. Come on. These are also true for a rhombus. Are they true for a square?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Awesome. Okay, so those are all true for a square, parallelogram, rectangle, etc. Okay, so let's look at the other ones. Do we know for sure in a generic parallelogram, the diagonals are congruent? Look at this, look at it this way. Look at the paper we just did. Which one of these special parallelograms are the diagonals congruent? Which two?
Rectangle and square.
Yep, rectangle and square. Okay, so when their diagonals are congruent, is only the rectangle and square. There we go. Okay, look at that paper again on our notes and tell me which ones are the diagonals perpendicular.
Square.
And,
The rhombus.
yep, good. So the diagonals are perpendicular, square, and a rhombus. Because remember, a rhombus is a special, a square is a special rhombus. So if it's true for the square, it'll be true for the rhombus. Okay, so look at your paper. Tell me which 2 of those do you have the diagonals bisecting the angles?
Square.
Okay, and
Rhombus.
rhombus, awesome. So bisecting the angles, we have a square and a rhombus. Okay, good. There's like 4 or 5 people that are participating and there's over 10 of you. So come on guys, jump in there. Look on that paper and tell me which 2 have all the angles are right angles.
A square and a rectangle.
Good. Square and a rectangle. Rectangle and square. I'm writing kind of light because I'm going to end up erasing it. And on number 10, tell me which 2 are all the sides congruent.
Square.
A square and a
Rhombus.
rhombus. Good. Thanks for jumping in there. Good. That's it. We just completed the first half of our assignment. Okay, questions on that? Do you feel a little more comfortable with the properties? You can put a yes or a no or not yet in the chat box. Yes, no, or not yet. Okay. Okay. Thank you for those responses. I have a variety of answers. And so I was asked if you guys can record the meeting. What I'm doing right now is I'm also recording the lesson so that I can post it. I'm going to be posting it because, and actually this is a good time to throw this out there while people are still getting caught up. In order to help every student, and I realize that by doing this, the privilege could be abused, but I'm going to do it anyway. I am going to be posting all of the videos ahead of time, and I'm going to require you to watch them before class. So in doing that, and that's going to start next week because obviously you didn't have it available to you, so that when we get together for our 80 minutes, we can go over problems. We can go over homework problems, we can go over example problems, and I can make sure that every single one of my students are okay with the material. Now, with that being said, I know that this can be abused in that some students will just watch it and not come to class. Or they'll watch it and say they attended class when they didn't, and then I'll have a parent mad at me for marking their student absent when they said they were there. Okay, I'm not going to go there. So it's important because, like what I was saying earlier, if it's important, if you want to pass this class, to finish strong, which means you're going to watch the video, you're going to do the couple of assignments, but because you're going to be watching the video ahead of time, you're going to be uploading a picture of the notes for me. That's how I'm going to know that you actually watched the video and took the notes. So this is kind of a practice run with the Monday notes. So you could do that. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at some of the other ones. Awesome. Okay, so let's see. Let's do some of the odd ones. Oops. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. Let's do some of the odd ones. So let's look at number 11. So we have this quadrilateral. And they tell us that quadrilateral SLMT, okay, is a rhombus. They tell us that it's a rhombus. Okay, so all of those things that we said were true for a rhombus is going to be true for this picture. So let's draw the diagonals. And then we're going to label the angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Well, hopefully we already know what 5 is, but. So they say if the measure of angle 1 is 25. So the measure of angle 1 is 25. They want us to find the measure of angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and angle 5. Okay, so where do you want to start? If we know that angle 1 is 25, what would angle 2 be? Look at your notes for a rhombus. What do the diagonals do to the angles? Someone tell me.
They bisect them.
They bisect. Thank you.
Angle 2 would be 25.
Exactly. Okay. Because if the angles bisect, the diagonals actually, the diagonals bisect the angles, and that means it cuts it into 2 equal parts. 2 equal parts. I'm writing that so you can have a visual. What does it mean to bisect? It means 2 equal parts. So if angle 1 is 25, then angle 2 is 25. Okay, so that's 25. What do we know about angle 5?
Is it a right angle?
It is. Okay, it's a right angle because the diagonals are perpendicular in both a rhombus and a square. So angle 5 is 90. So that makes this one a right triangle. Are the other ones a right triangle?
Yeah.
They are, yes. Okay, let's look at why. Because first of all, vertical angles are equal. So if angle 5 is a right angle, that one's a right angle. And then do you remember? Some of you do, some of you don't. Okay. Things that make a straight line equal 180. Well, if that's 90, then this also better be 90 to make the 180. And then these are vertical angles. So that's a right angle. So if we know one is a right angle, they are all a right angle. So now we're looking at 4 right triangles. So if angle 2 is 25 degrees, what would that make angle 3? What would that make angle 3?
$25.
Not 25. Remember that the angles of your triangle have to add up to be what?
180.
180. Okay, so we've got 90 and 25. What else do I need to make 180?
65.
Yep, 65. So it makes that a right triangle. So that makes angle 3 65. And so this is 65. What does that make angle 4?
65.
65. Good. Because this diagonal bisects angle L and makes 2 of them 65 degrees. Angle 3 Angle 4. I wrote that really crooked, sorry. Angle 4 and angle 5. Okay. So if they told me, let's say angle M was 130, you would also be able to tell what these two angles were because you would divide by 2. Okay, good. So in this picture, so for number 12, they give us angle 1 and angle 2. What do we know about angle 1 and angle 2? What do we know about angle 1 and angle 2, according to the picture even? I think a few people fell asleep. Okay.
Can you
Yeah.
repeat the question?
Yes, I can. I said, what do we know about angle 1 and angle 2?
They're equal.
They're equal. Good. That was the response I was trying to elicit, trying to get at. We know that angle 1 is equal to angle 2 in this problem. So the measure of angle 1 is going to equal the measure of angle 2. That's what you need for number 12, this question number 12. Because you're going to set them equal to each other. But let's look at number 13. It says the measure of angle 1 is equal to 3x plus 1. And the measure of angle 3 is equal to 7x minus 11. Find the value of x. Okay. Well, we know that angle 1 is equal to angle 2. What relationship does angle 2 and angle 3 have? What relationship does angle 2 and angle 3 have? What kind of a triangle is that?
Right triangle.
Okay. So we already know that the right angle is 90 degrees. What does that make angle 2 and angle 3?
90 degrees.
90 degrees. Good. They are complementary. So we know that the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. So just kind of a side note, measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 have to equal 90. Well, we weren't given the measure of angle 2, but we were given the measure of angle 1, but we know that these are equal to each other. So I can go ahead and say that substitute the measure of angle 1 for the measure of angle 2. So I know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 3 is equal to 90 degrees. Oops, I forgot my 3 in there, sorry. Okay, that's a 3. Okay, so let's plug that in and solve. So in place of measure of angle 1, I'm going to put 3x plus 1. Instead of, in place of the measure of angle 3, I'm going to put 7x minus 11. And then you're going to solve it and tell me what X is. You're going to put it in the chat box. Go ahead and solve for X. I should get like 10 different or 10 answers. Here's one. Okay. Hmm. Okay, there's one correct answer, and then one that I know what you did. You go back and try and solve your equation again. Okay, good. I'll wait for a few more. I want to make sure, pretty much everybody's got it before we go on. We're going to look at a rectangle problem. Good, yeah. Okay, got about 5 answers. Need a few more. So far, everybody's got it. Everybody that put it in the chat box is correct. Okay, and if you don't know, please put IDK so that I know that as well. Okay. That's why I made our chat boxes private, or that you could only chat with me, because I wanted to make sure everybody had a safe platform. Okay, let's get 2 more. Okay, good. All right, so we have a mixture of answers. So solving this, it just becomes an equation. We're going to combine like terms, 3x and 7x, we get 10x. 1 take away 11 is a minus 10 equals 90. And then we're going to solve, and we add 10 to both sides. So I bring down my 10x is equal to, now I go 90 plus 10 is 100. And then dividing both sides by 10, you get x equals 10. And that's what they wanted. Okay. So the next set is a rectangle. So let's draw our rectangle, FLET. FLAT, spelling flat. And then we're going to draw our diagonals. And they give us angles, and they call this point in the middle point O, like for float. Yeah, float. Okay. 1, call this angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's look at what we know about a rectangle. All the angles are going to be what? All the corner angles are what?
Right angles.
Good. So they're all right angles. Okay. What do we know about the diagonals?
They're equal.
They're equal. That's a very important key to our puzzle here. Okay, because we know that TO is equal to OL. We know that OF is equal to OA. So on number 14, they give us angle 1. So the measure of angle 1 is equal to 18. They want us to find the measure of angle 2, measure of angle 3, and the measure of angle 4. Okay, so angle 1 is 18. Does that allow us to find the measure of angle 2?
Yes.
What would it be?
18.
Awesome. Why?
Uh, I forgot the name of the triangle. The one with two equal sides, or
Perfect. Yep. That's what we call an isosceles
Yeah.
triangle. Good job. Okay. So we have an isosceles triangle. If you remember, it's drawing the little arrows across. So this angle will be equal to this one. So we know that those two are equal. So we know the measure of angle 2, the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 2 because it's isosceles. Okay, good. So that would make this one 18. I'll use red. Okay. So if 2 is 18, what does that make 3? If we know the measure of angle 2 is 18, what does that make angle 3?
$144.
No, but I appreciate that. Okay, look at the angle 2 and angle 3 together. What are they supposed to equal?
Is it 72?
It is. Good. Why?
It has to equal 90.
Perfect. Nice. Okay. So when we see that this is a right angle, that means it equals 90. And so 90 minus 18 would give us our 72. Okay, good. So if angle 3 is 72, what does that make angle 4?
Same thing, 72.
It is going to be 72 because these also make an isosceles triangle. Cover that up. Okay, so that's going to give us an isosceles triangle. And so that's going to make angle 3 equal to angle 4. Awesome. So this is also 72 because angle 3 equals angle 4 because it's also isosceles. So if you missed last trimester, mentally or physically, then when we have two equal sides, the angles opposite those sides are equal. That's true all the time. So we knew that when these two sides were equal, these two bottom angles are equal. And then we found this one. And then we knew that because these are equal sides, those are going to be equal angles. And we could go all the way around the rectangle. But notice how this shows right here that the angles, the diagonals do not bisect each other. Because if they bisected, then these would both be equal, and they're not. Okay. So rectangle diagonals do not bisect, but they do, the corners are 90 degrees. Okay. Let's look at 15. It says that FA is 27. And they want us to find LO. Okay, so think about that for a few minutes and put your answer in the chat box. Because of the result you're gonna get, you might think you're wrong, but you're not. Okay, we want to find LO. Ask yourself, what do we know about the diagonals? Okay, 2 right answers and 1 that's close. Yes, it is halfway. Good. Yes. Okay, a couple more answers. Okay, I appreciate that response. So I'm going to ask a couple of you an individual question. Okay, a couple more responses. There's 11 of you. I think I need more than 6 answers. And this is where I say, you know, if I'm not getting at least responses in the chat box, that means I have to assume that you probably walked away from the computer.
Did you send me one?
Nathan, yeah.
Is the
But I,
question in the chat box?
huh?
Is the question in the chat box?
Oh, I sent it to just one particular person.
Oh,
Based on their, just based on their answer. But no, I'm just saying, if you guys are not participating, you know, even with I'm not sure, or you know, things like that, then I don't know that you're still there. That's why. So Nathan, what do we know about the diagonals? Diagonals of a rectangle.
Of the rectangle. We know what they equal.
They equal each other, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, So if we're looking at FA, the length over here, what would the length of TL be?
27.
Good.
Okay.
And so what would that make OL?
13.5.
Nice, nice, awesome. And most of you had that in the chat box, okay? But this is the process that you need to go through. It's like, okay, well, first of all, LO is not on the same diagonal as FA. So what do we know about the diagonals? Well, as Nathan said, they are equal to each other. Okay, well, so now that means that TL is also equal to 27. And, oh, but gee, look at this. OL is half of TL, which is half of 27. So LO is 1/2 of 27 because FA is equal to TL, and we get 13.5. Okay. If you didn't get 13.5 or you put, I don't know, can you please put in the chat box if you get it now? Or if it makes more sense. A yes or no from people that didn't get a 13.5. Good, awesome. Okay, awesome. Okay. $16, it's kind of along the same line. They give us TO. Is equal to 4y plus 7. And then they tell us FA is equal to 30. Okay, so let's see the picture of that. Okay. So here's the first question I would ask. First of all, TO is only part of my diagonal. It's half of it. FA is the whole diagonal. So what number, numeric value, would TO be equal to? The question is, would TO be equal to 30 or a different number? What would that number be? Is TO equal to 30 or is it equal to a different number? And if so, what would that be? Put it in the chat box. And this will be our last question. Oh, no, it won't. Sorry. Okay. Lauren's got it. Nathan's got it. Andrew's got it. Okay. So if FA is the whole thing, how big is half of FA? Someone say it out loud.
15.
15, okay? So if FA is equal to 30, TL is 30, but half of that would be 15, okay? So we know that TO is going to equal 15. So I'm going to write this, but we're not going to solve it because I need to move on. Okay, one last thing to cover because I didn't. But this is super easy. Okay, I'm going to turn it real quick. when we have a triangle like 17 through 19. So you get the lesson and the problem in one. So here's a right triangle. And here's a median. We have R, M for midpoint, I, G. The median here, remember what we said that RM, if this is a midpoint, we know that RM is equal to MI. Well, the median of GM is also equidistant to G. So this is also equal. So for this problem, the median of a right triangle is equal to, we'll call it half the hypotenuse. But all that means is those three are equal. So look at what we're given. What do you think? Oh, here's the angles. Angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. So check this out. This is going to be an isosceles triangle because the two sides are equal. This is going to be an isosceles triangle because the two sides are equal. Okay, so they tell us that angle 1 is 32. And we're just going to do this one and then I'll let you go. The measure of angle 1 is 32. Find the measure of angle 2, 3, and 4. So if this is 32, angle 1, what's the measure of angle 2? Let me just say it out loud. Remember what we just said? What kind of a triangle is this right here? So if angle 1 is 32, what does that make angle 2? Oh, good, everybody's still with me. It got quiet all of a sudden. They're not, it doesn't equal a right angle, so it wouldn't be 48. But remember what we just said. This is an isosceles triangle. The two sides are equal. What do we know about the two angles then?
Wait, would it be 32?
Yes, okay, because these are isosceles triangle. If angle 1 is 32, that makes angle 2 also 32. So angle 2 is also 32. Isosceles triangle. Okay, now let's look at angle 3. If angle 2 is 32, what would angle 3 be? Together they have to equal what?
90. So
90.
it would be 58.
Yep, good. 58 is together they equal 90. Okay. And what does that make angle 4?
$58.
58. Good. Okay, good. Yeah. A lot of good answers in the chat too. So that also makes 458. Also, angle R and angle I also have to equal 90. Okay, this is because it's an isosceles triangle, or angle R plus angle I have to equal 90. Okay, either way. So how many of you felt this was beneficial today, having more time to go over problems? Put that in the chat box for me. Yes or no? And that'll be my last question. Okay, good. Oh, good. Some people that I haven't heard from all period. That's good. Thank you. Okay, good. Awesome. I'm very glad to hear that. Okay. And if you happen to feel like you're still a little confused, I am going to post the video and you can go back over it and kind of fill in some of the answers. This is actually number 17. And you can use that to finish 18 and 19. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording real quick.